Hi everybody, my name is Myra and welcome to another video. Today I bring you monthly recommendations. And I know I'm pretty late on the game here because it's already like almost halfway through the month, but I thought, I'll just jump in the bandwagon and see where it takes me, hopefully somewhere good. So I am here to recommend you guys books about empowering female lead characters.
Also, I know my lighting keeps changing, but it's because the light outside keeps changing, hence everything in here keeps changing. But I really like this one. I hope it stays. Please make it stay for the next 30 minutes.
So let's just get started and get into the list of recommendations that I have here for you today. The first one that I want to talk about is Kira from Gathering Blue, which is the second book in the Giver quartet, and I know the Giver is like the best well-known book of the bunch because they even made a movie about it and the movie was great. Go watch it, read the book. It's an amazing book. So good. Just do it. I read The Giver in English for my English class in 6th or 7th grade, and then I read Gathering Blue when I was in 8th grade for my Spanish class in Spanish. So it was like a really new experience, but I really like the character, and I recently listened to the audiobook to kind of give a refresher of the book because I remember really liking it. So Kira, character of Kira, I love her. When she was born with a leg deformity, so she couldn't walk right, and in the society where she lived, she was looked down upon, and she was actually meant to be taken into the fields to die or to be taken away because they didn't want anybody in their society that was crippling or that couldn't contribute to the building of their society. So she actually was accepted to continue living within the society that she was in because her mother fought for it, and she was like, I am not letting my child go, so you better back off. In the beginning of the book, it opens up with Kira at her mother's funeral, so there you know that her life is going to be rough because she lost the only source of support that she had. And so she goes back home and she faces all these challenges with all these other women in the community wanting to kick her out and just wanting her to be gone. But Kira fights her case, and she ends up using the talents that her mother gave her to make a living for herself and to win favor in the community and within the elders of the community. And so I really liked her because she didn't just stood back and was like, oh, poor me, I'm gonna die here, I'll just let them do whatever they want, I'll just die. And she fought for it despite the adversities that she faced, which were pretty rough ones. So Kira, I love her. And the second lead that I wanted to talk about was Liesel from the book Thief, and I'm sure if you've read this book you know what I'm talking about, and if you have not read this book, what are you doing with your life? So Liesel, she's just this feisty little girl. She's surrounded with all this tragedy and she's lost so much, but she's just got this fighting spirit that won't give up, and I love that about her. I love that she's so feisty, and I love that she's got this fighting spirit about her. I mean, she loves to read and she's the book thief, but she has a hard time reading, and she manages to overcome that. There's just so much irony in that the thing that she loves is the thing that's kind of keeping her down, but she overcomes that. It's just amazing. I love Liesel. I just love her. She's great. She's amazing. She's got this heart of gold, and she's so feisty, and she's a fighter, and Liesel is great. Go read that book. Go read that book. The sun keeps changing so much. Oh my goodness. The next couple of characters that I wanted to talk about come from the same book, and that is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini, and I actually have that book, but I couldn't find it, so yeah. And the names of these characters are Miriam and Lila. They are pretty much they live very separate lives, but they come together at a certain point when they come to marry the same man. The story takes place in Afghanistan, so this man married Miriam first and then he married Lila. So the husband, he was very brutal, he was very mean, he was very abusive. So when Miriam married him, they wanted to get pregnant, and she was just not able to carry her pregnancy through, and so he started being really abusive. He would beat her really bad, and it was so sad. So years go by, and this man ends up acquiring another wife, which is Lila. For the first period of time, Miriam and Lila just do not get along because Miriam is like territorial about her household. As the story progresses, you see how their friendship just become so beautiful. They really become like sisters. They help each other out through this abusive marriage for both of them in a society that denies the rights to women to be independent or do anything for that matter. And so I love this story, and I love these two female leads because they empower each other. They lift each other up. I still think about this story here and there, and I read it years ago. It's great. It's so good. And then the last set of characters that I wanted to talk about is pretty much all the female leads from The Help. I still have the price here. I actually bought this book and I started reading it, and I realized maybe this will be better as an audiobook, and so I started audiobooking it, and it's amazing. It's such an awesome audiobook. Go listen to this book. It's so good. It's so good. I guess I'll mention the three main characters that I really loved, which, I mean, the book mainly revolves around them, and that is Skeeter, it's Mimi, and it's Abby. And these are just three women that just rock my world because they're amazing. This book, if you don't know, takes place in the 60s during the civil rights movement, and Skeeter, she's a college graduate. She comes back home to live in Jackson, Mississippi, and she wants to be a writer, and she's just kind of trying to find her way through, and she decides to write a book about maids and their stories. And at this point, like, and that's why it's called The Help, because they were the help of the household, and there are all these black maids, and they all have these amazing stories. They didn't really have a voice, and Skeeter gave them a voice that could be heard. And so you have the first lady, Abby, that decides to participate in this project that Skeeter wants to do, and she's risking everything because really, if somebody finds out that she's telling these stories, she's gone. She loses everything. She could die. And then Abby, she has her best friend who's Mimi, and Mimi, I just love her. She is so good. She's so feisty, and again, she lives in very harsh conditions. Her husband is a very abusive man, and she has a lot of kids, but she manages to provide for her family, and at the same time, she's helping Skeeter with these stories and getting more maids to come and participate in this book, telling their own stories. And I just love that. I love that these women stood up for something in such a crucial time in history. In the context of the book, these women stood up for what was right, even though that could have costed them their lives or everything in their life. I think this is an important subject to talk about, especially during this period of time that we're living in America. Everything is so bad, so bad, and it breaks my heart to hear about so many lives being lost to so much violence and so much hatred and so much racism that we thought, hey, it's no longer there, but it really is. And it's just sucks. It just sucks to see it, and to see that reflected on a book in that time period. Go read it. It's amazing. It's so good. Go read it. Finally, I wanted to give a shout out to some of the most well-known characters, and that is, of course, Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. And also, I wanted to shout out Cassie and Ringer from the Fifth Wave series. I really like Ringer. I think she was really kick butt, especially in the last book and a half. And finally, I also wanted to bring up Lizzie from Pride and Prejudice because it's real, she's awesome, and she is living all of her dreams by marrying Mr. Darcy. So that was it. Thank you for watching. That is my cat Ikea that you just saw running away because she thinks I'm weird. Also, I will be linking down Kayla Rain's and Trina's video down below, along with the Goodreads group, in case you want to join us next month. It shall be fun. I tell you, this was so much fun. Anyway, okay, well, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time with my next video.